some of the drivers where they're always kind of,
Hey, and there he is.
man, look at the
Hey,
devil. There he is.
hey, speak of the devil. Everybody, National Sprinkle Hall of Famer Lance Dewease joins the show. Lance, welcome in. So, yeah, this first time you actually do it with myself and my dad.
Yes, it is.
How's everything going? And big year coming up in 2024. We want to kind of touch on that. And we've also been talking about the Chili Bowl a little bit. So, how's everything going with you?
It's going pretty good. It's snowing here right now, so
Yeah,
we have
yeah.
to fight that a little bit this weekend, but everything's going good.
Let's just go right into it. What are the plans for 2024? Obviously, 2023 was a very unique year just for everybody in sprint car racing. What's the plan, and which teams are you looking for running this year, and which races are on your highlighted on your schedule?
Well, right now I'm driving for the Barry Shear 12 car this year. The schedule is going to be relatively what I've done the last 7 years. A 40 race schedule, roughly, give or take. Mainly all the high dollar shows, time trial events. Might be doing some other things that I'm trying to work on that I haven't done in my career that I wouldn't mind trying before I retire. So we're working on some other stuff to hopefully see we can do some other different types of racing this year too.
Awesome, and we were actually kind of talking about the Chili Bowl, and that's why we kind of kickstarted this season right before the Chili Bowl. Is that something you've ever wanted to do, and have you raced in the midget series before?
I actually have raced a midget and won it at Williams Grove years and years ago. It was a wing midget back then. It was ARDC. So no, the Chili Bowl never really. I mean, it'd be neat to do, but at my age now, there's no way to do it. You know, there's young kids. It's a whole different type of racing. My son might get a shot maybe sometime to go do it, but it's for an old guy like me, you're just not putting yourself in that position.
Well, that's actually what I wanted to. That kind of transitions nicely. Cole had a very, very good season last year, and one of his best seasons to date. What are the plans that he's got, and what is he? What are you kind of looking forward to with him this season?
Well, we're working hard right now. We leave at the end of the month for Florida Speed Week for him. We're working hard. We just got done. His last race was Millbridge on December 16th, something like that it was. So we're actually working hard on trying to get prepared for Florida Speed Week for him. And, he has a ton of races on his schedule. He ran 70 some last year. He could race 100 if we wanted to. But it's just a lot for me and Tommy Beavers, who takes him when I'm not around. And, it's just a lot. But, no, he's doing really good. He's progressing really well. The thing I'm happy for and excited about is he don't need me. He needs me to get the car to the racetrack. That's it. I could leave. He does most of his own setups. He's really sharp on that. He knows what the car needs. It just kind of blows me away considering he didn't do none of this until 2 years ago. Wasn't involved in anything before that. Could care less about the races kind of until 2 years ago. So it's neat and makes me happy for him that he's going the mechanical driver route.
Right.
Because I honestly believe you need to do that to survive and succeed. There's only a few what I would call great mechanics. Jeff's dad, your grandpa, Ricky Warner, Carl Kenzer. There's only a few of those guys out there that you basically could hop in, drive the race car, and hop out and not even say a word if you didn't need to. You look at guys that know how to work on the race cars, they're pretty successful.
That's all. How old is Cole now?
He just turned 16 he's 16. He'll turn 17 this year in March.
Awesome. Well, Dad, you got some questions lined up for Lance?
Yeah. So, how is it being the father of a race car driver now? Is it tougher on you watching him run, or is it more nerve wracking when you're racing, or is it more nerve wracking when he's racing?
Well, Jeff, I wasn't
Or you've
sure
been
how.
around it so long, it's just what
Yeah,
you
I
do.
wasn't sure how I was going to feel, and I actually been pretty calm most of the time with it. And some of it was from day one. The first time he ever climbed in the car at Millbridge, his first time ever driving anything, he blew me away. Like, where does that come from? And like, he ran lines, he drove correctly, and I mean, his first time ever driving anything in his life at Millbridge, he got within 2/10 by the end of the night, got within 2/10 of where you need to be at Millbridge now. So it was really weird it looked natural to him. And yeah, I credit a lot of it of my best friend, Donnie Owens, who owned a 30C, who I drove for, I actually work for today, was blown away too. And he's a big supporter of Cole. And the iRacing is the only thing, besides, being around it, the iRacing that he does is the only thing I can think that makes him understand how to drive a line on the racetrack and where he needs to be. So I was pretty calm after that. I was pretty nervous there, but I was pretty calm after that, and I've been pretty calm more or less the whole time with him, because it just kind of blows me away that my wife showed me a note, like I don't know what she's talking about. So but yeah, it's just
Bring her
funny
on. She's
on how
welcome to come on.
it is. Now she's a nervous wreck with him.
Oh, I bet.
Nervous wreck. And actually, Donnie Owens, my boss and my best friend, he can't stand to watch him live. Like, he come to Millbridge, the Winter Series show. He was on his way home and stopped in Millbridge, and he watched the heat race and had to leave. He couldn't watch him. Couldn't watch him run the wall and stuff like that. So it's been pretty easy for me, Jeff, to do it. I think now, after 2 years, I think I get a little bit more into it, because I see the talent, the possibility, I just want him to keep improving and be able to show that. So like, a lot of it to me is I don't want to screw this up and not make sure stuff's right and make sure everything's in place for him to have a chance at succeeding, at whatever.
Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me how well he's done. One thing people have asked, like, if we had to give new up-and-coming sprint car drivers advice, my thing was always to watch videos of you racing, and I said, importantly, watch your hands in the car, how smooth you are, and there's so much to be learned. You see a lot of these guys, they want to go in, they want to throw the car, and they get the hands going back and forth. You watch you race, your hands are very smooth most of the time. The car doesn't get out. And for sure, he's picked up a lot of that just watching you over the years. It's, by not getting the car sideways, you know how much faster you're going to go. And also, people don't realize how good of a mechanic on the cars you were. I know you fabricated a lot of stuff. I know you built bird cage and stuff when I was helping with Craig and stuff like that. So, you talked about learning to work on your own cars. And yeah, for 99% of the people, I think that's hugely important that the driver has a general idea of what the car is doing, and then can kind of discuss it when you're done running. That's, anybody successful, it's a whole team effort.
Yeah, it sure is. And I think where that plays an effect is not when things are going good, is when things start going bad. If you have a driver that you're willing to take the input from, that knows has been down the road of working on stuff and all, I think you could adjust and learn some stuff. We both, me and you, Jeff, been around a long time, and around the racing part of it a good bit. When it's going good, it's easy.
Right.
I mean, it's easy. I mean, when everything's going right, it is easy. There's not a whole lot to it. But when you start struggling, it can get really hard at times, and and that's when stuff starts happening, and you have to be able to kind of work together and try to figure that stuff out, and maybe get more open-minded than what you are when you're running good, because you've been around, been around your dad and seen the success. And when it's right, it is easy. But when it's not, it is very hard.
Yeah, we're all a bunch of guys. We're all bullheaded. You don't want to. It's hard to admit when you're wrong. As far as even being a driver or a mechanic, been through it a couple times both ways. It's definitely tough to do. But one thing you mentioned, you said about maybe trying to run some different things. I remember, I don't know, 20 years ago, USAC cars came into Williams Grove, and I think you were in the 461. I think you started about last
23rd
race.
23rd.
I was going to say, I think you got second out of that.
Yeah, and
is that something you'd like to do again? Maybe run non-wing sprint cars again, or
not non-wing sprint car. Silver Crown car maybe. Something longer races.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Maybe a mile track. I would love to race the Champ car at Port Royal. That would be the only thing I would do without a wing. No, I would not race it. Those guys without wings nowadays are unbelievable. We stood when we were at Eldora this past year, racing. I stood there with Cassidy and Donald and watched the USAC non-wing guys run. I mean, they're just crazy, and how hard they can run them cars. It's just unbelievable, and it just blows me away compared to the time you were talking about. Their pace in those cars are way faster now, just like our cars are and everything else is, but it's a whole different breed of stuff. That Pacific race that you're talking about was, we started 23rd, got the next last qualifying spot in the B main, and drove up through. And what was funny about that was the car that beat me was the Zemco car with Billy driving it with your dad working on it. And I got to fourth, and Billy was right in front of me, and we were running them down, and we were really moving good at that point. And we had a red, and we didn't know no different. Under the red, you could change tires. Well, we didn't do nothing. We were happy already. We were already happy. I mean, we felt pretty good. Well, I had a Air Racer 33 on. Well, Billy and your dad and them, they put a set of 23s on with 5 laps to go. Well, it might have been a little bit longer than that, right? And we took off, and Billy, where did Billy go? I didn't know, did he drop out or something? I didn't know where he went. Well, it took me 5 laps to get going. I got going. I got to third. I got to second. Well, when I got to second, I realized, shit, Billy's leading this thing. Well, 2 to go, I was starting to really mid a little bit. So I swear I drove it this much harder into 3. And I brushed the outside fence. I said, okay, we're second. I'm done. Because it just that quick, you overdrove it that fast and it was gone. But yeah, they both said 23s and just drove by everybody on the start and left them for a while. Then we got going with the tires and everything else. But it was neat, to do that. It was, I wouldn't want to do it all the time. There's only certain places I would ever done that at. But it was neat to do it at that time.
Yeah, it was nice because, there was really only just a handful of the local racers that came out to run against those guys. That's back when, Leland McSpadden was running, Doug Coletta was actually running sprint cars at the time. So it was pretty neat, seeing all that and what they thought of how big Williams Grove is compared to what, the kind of stuff. The thing I thought was funny, their engines, they all have down nozzles and everything, and we're trying to detune these things, something off. We're taking down nozzles out, just running up nozzles just so it has better throttle control and everything,
Well, that was a funny thing that that's what I was getting ready to say, that you could sit there during qualifying and not even be looking at the track and knew which car was a Central PA car and which car was a USAC car. Or it might have been CRA. I can't remember which one it was.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah. Because our stuff had a whole different sound to it than their stuff. Their stuff sounded detuned, not making as much power compared to our stuff. It was a weird feel. That's the first time I drove, well, would have been the second time I ever ran without a wing. And at the flag stand, when you lift at the flag stand, the car just picks up speed because we're so used to the air brake of the wing and everything, and just it was neat. I really enjoyed it. Don't really need to do it again, so it was a lot of fun.
But yes, I did see that the Silver Crown, they got the race at Port Royal. Hopefully, you get something for that. That would be an awesome race for you to be in. I mean, there's nobody better Port Royal than you are, so I think people would be, jumping at the bit to put you in that car just for the knowledge that you have of that track.
Well, we're working on some things. We'll see what happens, and it's just I wouldn't mind doing a mile race. I think it would be really fun. I think I'd be very good on the mile with how straight you have to run them there, and,
right.
And being 100 laps, I think plays into my mindset better than some people's. So
do they still run them at the Springfield Mile? I didn't.
Yes, I think so. I think
they just had darker races. I think
they still have
Costner on, and they go from Michigan to run the Springfield Mile within 2 days. I don't know if that was the whole same weekend that they may have the.
They run 2 miles. I think still there's 2 left.
Later
in the year.
I think they used to have the Hoosier 100, but that's now going to be, I believe, an asphalt race at IRP or whatever it's called now. Lucas.
Yeah, that's a whole different car even.
Yeah.
So.
But.
Well, Lance, real quick, touch on last year going through multiple teams and everything. How do each teams, I guess, prepare and approach every car, and how is it as a driver driving in different cars, different chassis completely on these teams, and how did you feel like you transitioned into those teams when you got in the seat?
Well, Zach, it was a weird year, as you said at the beginning.
Yes.
It was a weird year for a lot of people. Very, very weird year for me. Something I'd never experienced.
Right.
With how it happened, when it happened, unexpectedly, all that end of it. But with that said, when I climbed in the Macri car, that was a quick deal, unexpected, for the million, and that was way different. Everything's different about it. And as I tell everybody, you couldn't get farther on the spectrum of the driving styles between me and Anthony.
Yep.
So, that was just, I was doing Nick a favor. He needed a driver. It was last minute. We weren't racing.
Right.
Donald told me he was fine with it. I said I'd do it for Nick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was a weird deal. Is honestly a weird deal. I'd never been involved in something like that. Where it was just weird. You show up the biggest race ever for a sprint cars. It was just weird. I felt bad for everybody involved. Felt bad for Joe and the whole team. It just And with that said, at Eldor we were, at times we were all right. Most of the time we weren't very good. A lot of it was me. I don't have a whole lot of laps around Eldor, but a lot of it was me. The track conditions didn't help somebody like me that much. But we did show speed at times. And then when I got fired and Nick put me in the car to help me out while they decided what they would do, we got speed, we got fast. We were in position to win probably 3 or 4 shows easily. So I was pretty happy there. But what people don't understand is there's a huge difference when you go from one car to the next.
Yes. Especially
the engine programs.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest difference in all the stuff I did at the end of the year. I went from driving a car, an engine program that is so smooth, to something basically arguably the best engine builder in the country in Charlie Garrett's stuff.
Yeah.
As far as when it comes to power. And they're just way, way different feels. And you can't make them drive the same because the engines are not built that way. Charlie's stuff's made to It makes a lot of top end power, makes a lot of horsepower. It makes it run out the top. Something I never felt. I mean, like that thing of his would run out the top. But it didn't exactly race sometimes the best either. Right. So you had to kind of figure that out. And you're trying to figure this out in a short period of time.
Yeah.
Against really good cars. At the end of the year, all the big shows, you're trying to do that, and figure all that out in a short period of time. And, Joe worked really hard, trying to get me comfortable. We started getting me comfortable, and, our results showed it. We had a win at the Grove. We had seconds at, outlaw shows at Port, and, we had speed. So, that was nice. And then when I hopped in the 12 car, at Susky, that was a weird deal because that was one of those warm up is time trials. So I'm climbing in a new car, never even made a lap in.
Yeah.
Again, different car, different motors, a third different combination from the other two. And we were all right. I was wasn't happy by the end of the night with what we finished, but a lot of that was on me. I just went the wrong way with the race car. But we were okay for the first time in the car. And then turned around and had to do it again with the 20 car that we didn't plan on racing until 2 days before that race.
Yeah.
And exact same thing. Now, at least that was the maximum. So I've been in a maximum before. But that would have been the fourth different brand of engine that ran in a 3-month period, say. And we actually we timed really good for our group and, ran okay. For the first time in the car. Sean Michael, seemed like he was pretty happy with it. I enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun. And it was just, it's just so hard. And it, again, was time trials, hot laps. So I don't even get a chance to, take 2 laps and figure the car out. My 2 laps was time trials. So, but that car had a little bit more comfortable feel to me, and I'm just going to assume it was because it was a Maxim. And I drove a Maxim for 7 years. You know what I mean? So the other cars were Triple X and Eagle, and it just everything has a little bit different feel.
Well, if obviously anybody can make it work, it'd be obviously a Hall of Fame driver as yourself. One thing, if you got a couple more things, if you got the time, I just wanted to real quick talk about what you thought about when I talked to you before. It was before the whole high limit started. What did you think about the high limit racing this year, and what do you think about the high limit series taking over for the All Stars? And you think that would be a good sign for sprint car racing as a whole?
I don't know. Honestly, I thought their midweek stuff was okay. I don't know how that's going to survive unless it's all based off of the streaming stuff. Because when I sit there and watch those midweek shows, there's only a few of those places that had great crowds.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those places didn't have enough people to cover the purse. So I don't know, their sponsorship programs and all that stuff, how that works, but I thought the high limit deal part of it, the racing was good. It was pretty good racing. I wish they would have done their all-star deal and all a little bit different. I feel bad for the guys in Ohio, Indiana, because they kind of got screwed in this whole deal with them doing away with the all-stars. And, I know Fast is trying to step up some and help out with the Ohio Speed Week and other stuff, but I wish they would have left the all-stars intact as far as the name and the brand, and they still could have had the high limit as their midweek stuff.
Yes,
because it is 2 separate stuff still. And I just don't. There's a lot of money being put out and thrown around, and I'm not in the end to know how all this money is coming or where it's coming from. I mean, and Zach, you've been around a while, but Jeff's been around as long as me. We've both seen this before. And right now they have 16 cars traveling, quote, full time with them. That ain't gonna happen. That won't happen. That won't stay. There will be teams drop off, unless there's something there that the public don't know. If the the tow money or whatever they're doing to attract these guys. I don't understand the attraction to it.
Right.
It's just, I mean, it's a good series. It looks like it's going to be a good series. They got great people in place now. The Mike Hess hire is huge for them, I think. But I don't know what makes them different than the World Outlaws, as far as team wise.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I don't know what they offer. I don't know what the Outlaws offer. You know, I've never been in that position, but I don't understand the attraction to it. Other than if Brad and Kyle's are good salespeople, and you know, there's stuff there that I don't know about. I mean, I think their schedule is a little messed up, but some of it's they have to get races where they have to get them. So
yeah,
but it'll be interesting to see of the 16. I would lay money they'll lose 4 to 6 of them by midway to 3/4 way of the year, because it happens in all series.
Yeah, if Kyle ever wants to come on this show and explain exactly what's the ins and outs of the High Limit series and everything, that's fine. And I think Dad mentioned it earlier that there was a series tried to do this against the Outlaws before, and it got dissolved a long time ago. And I think you kind of touched on that too. So it'll be interesting to see if what can happen with the High Limit series and everything. Before I let you go, my dad and I just did this. We did top 5 bucket list dirt races, either for yourself or as a fan. Number 1 for me was the Knoxville Nationals, and Dad had the Chili Bowl as a fan to go see. For you, what is your bucket list race to either see or drive in?
Number 1 would be Knoxville Nationals. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Eldora has its own. What do I want to use? It's its own deal to me. People show up at Eldora because they love Eldora, but it's not the Knoxville Nationals.
Right.
That would be number 2, because it is pretty unreal out there at Eldora with the amount of people that show up in the middle of nowhere, just like Knoxville.
Yes.
Bucket list for me. The Chili Bowl would be nice to go see it. I wouldn't mind going to see it once. Everybody tells me to go see something early in the week and don't stay for the actual, the end of the week. But I personally, I've always, a lot of people don't know this, I've always wanted to do the little 500. And that
was one of my bucket lists from Anderson, Indiana.
I would love to race that race. Just to do it. Other than that, it's hard for me to say a bucket list because, I love Tuxford 50. I love Williams Grove National.
I had those 2 on there for mine.
Yeah, so, it's, as far as me as a bucket list, Knoxville is the top of the list by far.
Yeah.
And then, to me, probably if I had to put something else second, it would be the Little 500. I would love to do the Little 500 sometime.
Anybody listening wants to pick them up for that race, y'all give them a call. Listen, Lance, we appreciate you coming on, taking time out of your day to talk to us. Hopefully you have an awesome season. Excited to see what you do. Excited to see what Cole does too. And hopefully I'll get up with you when you come to Millbridge this season, and we'll talk then.
Well, thanks for having me on, Zach. Thanks, Jeff. Nice seeing you guys. Stay warm down there in South now. I know Jeff is warm.
Yeah, he's good.
He's good.
It's only 70 couple here today.
70 couple?
Yeah.
I know it's rough. You had to put a hoodie on, didn't you, Jeff, today? To go outside at 70.
I go outside, yeah, for sure.
You're probably a true Floridian now, aren't you? You've been down there long enough. Your northeast has gone out you, and if it gets 50, you're freezing probably.
Oh yeah. That gets cold down here.
All right.
So now, where you said Cole, you're coming down. Where's Cole racing down here?
Hendra County. He has a two race there on February 1st and 2nd, or 2nd, 3rd. I forget the dates. Friday and Saturday. Then we run 5 nights out 6 at Marion County, which is over at Ocala.
Okay.
It's a half mile from Ocala dirt track. We were there last year. Actually put some really good racing on. I was kind of impressed by how the racing was there last year. So we're excited. It's 5 days of quote, the Florida Speed Week, and then Hendra added their own 2-day show before that. So we'll be down there from, basically week 1. We have one off day. We'll be able to go to Evolution, watch the sprint cars race. So yeah, we'll be down there for that. But yeah, it's over Ocala mainly.
Well, there you go, Dad. Maybe you get a chance to get up to one of those races this year.
That would be pretty awesome. Not that far from Ocala.
No, well, actually, Hendra's probably a little bit farther than Ocala for you.
I'll be on a cruise ship that weekend.
Oh, really? Okay.
See, he living it up down there, Lance. But yeah. Again, we appreciate you coming on, and anytime you want to come on, just let me know. Everybody, National Sprint Car Hall of Famer Lance Dewease. Lance, you have a good one.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Jeff. See you guys later.
Bye.